Okay, this is Nick. He is with Bracer, the compliance engine. They are a vendor that handles, and I'll let him explain in better detail, being that he does this every day, but they're a vendor that I was introduced to probably 5 years ago. Primarily, we're working out of the Chicago area initially and have filtered throughout the country to be the leading vendor in doing what I would describe as assistance to local fire departments in code compliance. It's a his particular company, and what they will do will provide assistance to us that would be extremely difficult to do, very labor intensive to do, and as I think he explains their process, it'll become pretty clear why, in my opinion, we need to follow in the footsteps of our neighbors as well as a number of departments across the country in moving forward with code compliance with fire and inspections. Go ahead, Nick.
Chief, thank you. Thank you for having me today, gentlemen. Council, thank you very much for having me today. Can you guys hear me? Everybody hear me? Okay. You want the recording? Okay. I always just like doing a mic. No, I'm kidding. Bryce and the compliance engine. Our main focus is we strictly track the third-party inspection, testing, and maintenance reports that are done on fire and life safety systems throughout the United States. I want to start out with the number 40%. 40% of all fire and life safety systems nationally go untested, uninspected, unmaintained, year over year, city over city, village over village, county over county. What we do is we partner with the AHJs, and locally we partner with the city of Peoria, as well as Pekin, and also Rock Island. Some of our most notable national partners are cities like Chicago, Los Angeles, California, Salt Lake City, Utah, Seattle, Washington, Austin, Texas, to name a few. It's not a technology issue that cities and AHJs, and when I say AHJ, I just mean the fire departments, have difficulty with. It's a service issue. It's following up on deficiencies. It's following up on past due inspections of fire alarm systems, sprinkler systems, hoods, gas detection systems, anything you can think of. We track that information, and companies like PIPCO, based in Pekin, companies like Getz Fire Equipment, they used to submit their inspection reports, if they would, email, snail mail, fax, to the AHJ, and then be the AHJ's responsibility to follow up on deficiencies, inspections, testing, and maintenance. What we do is we create it much more efficiently, where we are the ones who send out notifications to properties. When a renewal inspection takes place overdue, deficiencies get established by PIPCO, by Getz. We then follow up on those deficiencies, make sure that they get reconciled. What we're doing is we're avoiding situations like the Oakland ghost ship, like the Burton Bar Library fire in Phoenix, Arizona. Most recently, jurisdiction San Jose. There's apartment fire, inspection, testing, maintenance records weren't done for the last 6 years. It was a 5-alarm fire. Right now, the city of San Jose currently looking at options to be able to implement. This is not a new process in the state of Illinois, but also across the United States. It's a free service to the city. It's a free service to the fire department. And it's a free service to your constituents of East Peoria. It's funded, though, by the inspection, testing, and maintenance companies, by PIPCO, by Getz, by JF Ahern, by Effie Moran, by Simplest Grinnell, by Johnson Controls. They fund this, and I'm going to go back to 40%, because right now, there's 40% of all life safety systems that are going untested, uninspected, unmaintained. What Brycer is then doing is we're increasing that piece of the pie, and we're getting inspections on those 40% of buildings. That's what we focus on. That's what our mission is, and that's how we've been successful. We only focus on tracking third-party inspection, testing, and maintenance reports. We don't focus on anything else. We're not an inspection software. We're not going to do anything with your plan review. We do have the ability to track the backflows for cities, as well as elevators. We track 30,000 conveyance systems for the state of Mississippi. I understand that's more of a state deal with Illinois. Just want to show the scope of work that Brycer and the compliance engine does serve. So with that, I'd like to answer any questions that you all may have. I do have an executive summary that I'm going to send to Gary, and I'm going to ask Gary if he could forward that on to the rest of council as well as the mayor. But I'd love to answer any questions.
Yeah, the one comment I'd like to make, I actually first became aware of Brycer. It was approximately 3 years ago. Chief Knapp had invited me to a presentation back when Peoria and some other agencies met at Getz Fire Equipment. They came down and gave a presentation on their program, at which time I know Peoria, I think, was the most recent to
January 1st of 2018.
okay, to take them on. So one of the things I wanted to stress, he had mentioned the fees. They're already being inspected by these third parties and being charged. And that's basically, correct me if I'm wrong in saying that, that's basically where you say it's free, if you will. From our standpoint, we do have the ability, I believe, to enact a fee, or how does that work? I know that's back on us versus Brycer. That's, a decision the city would make.
What many cities have done is they have taken that inspection fee and that report fee, and they have added to a portion of that fee to supplement some of the administrative costs in their
Cover the
fire
costs.
departments. It's a fairly simple process. Some cities have chosen not to do that. City of Peoria, my understanding is instead of the regular rate of $12 or $13 per report.
Instead of us charging Getz, PIPCO $12, the city of Peoria, they've enacted what's called a revenue share. Well, where there's $25 being charged to Getz, PIPCO, we collect $12 and change. We give back the rest to the city of Peoria, and that's done on a quarterly basis. I have other examples as well. Gaithersburg, Maryland, they charge $65 with the revenue share. We collect about 12 and some change, and they get the rest. The city of Seattle, Washington, they charge $30 for the initial test being done by the inspection testing maintenance company. And then they follow up with a $30 retest fee, making sure that deficiencies are being reconciled, getting fixed, so we have compliant, safe fire and life safety systems, and also your constituents are safe as well. Those are a few examples that we have. About 7%, and we work with over 200 plus AHJs across the United States, 7% of those enact a revenue share. The city of Peoria is currently utilizing that. Chief Nelson of Pekin, that's going to be something we're going to have a conversation on in about 6 months to a year. We have other jurisdictions, Chicago, it's a different beast. They charge $300 for a sprinkler test. So it's a little bit different in each jurisdiction. Granted, that is the city of Chicago. But what we're talking about today in East Peoria, again, it's not a fee that's funded by your constituents. It's not a fee that's funded by the fire department. It's a fee that's funded by the inspection, testing, and maintenance company.
So essentially, the inspections maintenance company is willing to pay the fee, and I assume that in their economic model, they more than make that up through sales of parts and service on the 40% that goes uninspected.
That's correct. What these inspection, testing, and maintenance companies get out of this, there is an ROI. They're paying a fee, but what they're getting out of that, like if you were to give me $10 today or $12 today, and I give you $100 back a month, 2 months from now, pretty good deal. The inspection, testing, and maintenance companies, right now, they're not getting to that 40%. We're just increasing that piece of the pie, so inspections are being done on those properties. You're going to have some properties in East Peoria that do a good job of getting their inspection, testing, and maintenance done. They're not the issue. It's the issue of the majority that are not getting these systems tested, and it's already in national fire codes. It's already the responsibility of the AHJ to try and get out there on an annual basis or every 2-year cycle and inspect these properties. But it is the responsibility of the inspection, testing, and maintenance company to get out there on an annual basis and do these tests.
So they're going to if the city was to implement this, and even if without a revenue share, for instance, the company that I work for, we contract with a small alarm company. They just came and did our inspection about 6 weeks ago. Okay, it's not Getz, it's not PIPCO, it's a smaller alarm company.
What company it is?
Seco.
Seco? Seco is registered at SECO?
SEICO.
SEICO? Very familiar.
So the smaller companies like this, they simply what, have to be then registered with you to participate on this?
Correct. We actually work with 739 inspection testing maintenance companies in the state of Illinois alone. So this process is not new. Like I stated a bit earlier, cities like Pekin and Peoria and Rock Island have already adopted it. You have other ones in the Quad Cities area as well as north by about an hour, hour and a half. In Illinois, we work with 48 AHJs currently, and that number keeps on increasing by the day, as well as the national number of AHJs we've ended up partnering with.
How do you, okay, so you find somebody's uninspected, one of the 40%, then do you channel business towards one of these other vendors or these inspectors, or how do you do that?
Can you repeat the question, Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor?
as far as you detect that, what's your notification process then? Do you notify somebody?
Good question. We send out a renewal notice 37 days to when a property is expected to get their inspection done, let it be an alarm, a sprinkler system. If we have not received an inspection report, we send out an overdue notice 45 days from that date. If we still don't receive anything, we're going to start making phone calls to the property on its 61st day that it's past due. Right now, the AHJs, they do not have the time, the personnel, the resources to be able to accomplish this. That's why we have been able to partner with the AHJs that we have been able to. So what we're going to be doing, didn't mean to interrupt, Mr. Mayor, we're going to be following up and sending out those notifications and making phone calls on past due inspections and quite possibly even open deficiencies, making
And
sure
they
those
have-
are being
They
reconciled.
have access to any of the different inspectors that they want to choose from, then it's up to them to get their own inspector.
Correct. It's up to the ITM company. I mean, they're already registered, like Getz right now, they have about 30 inspectors and technicians. They're already registered in the compliance engine, so they're already good to go. And you have other companies like Seco. I
Right.
know Lindsay's is a hood company that does work in the area, plus many others.
What happens if that's totally ignored?
Good question. That's why.
Not that anybody would ever do that in East Peoria, but
Nobody would ever do that. Nobody does that in any city. That's why you guys are doing an ordinance, fire policy, or resolution. Excuse me.
that makes sense.
If you are working off the 2015, and I'm gonna get a little code here, but if you were working off the 2015 International Fire Code, there's a section, it's 107-3, titled Record Keeping. Lets the fire code official prescribe the form and format of such record keeping. What Bryce then becomes is that form and format, and I have lots of sample ordinances that I can provide. But if you were on the 15 IFC or going to the 18, there's no reason to do an ordinance or a fire policy because you already have that language in the National Fire Code. So you can do an ordinance. We have cities like Corpus Christi, Texas. They're working on the 2015 International Fire Code. They enacted an ordinance. Same thing with Abilene, Texas. I don't have any in the immediate area that have had that example, but I have other ones outside of the state of Illinois.
Thank you. Other questions? Anybody in the audience have a question?
One other point, Mayor, I just wanted to make out, we've discussed before keeping our databases up to date when it comes to contact for business owners as well as building owners. That's another thing that Bracer can assist with. When there is a change of owner, change of occupancy, change of management, change of contacts, that's something that they do as a part of their process. And for us, you know that we're out inspecting 1,000 properties a year as it is. When we talk about these buildings with multiple systems, this is another avenue of trying to get everything caught up to where it needs to be today.
Commissioner Jeffers?
No, I think I'm good.
You okay?
Yeah.
All right. Seeing none, no one come forward. Todd?
Where does the database come from of the facilities that need to be inspected?
Great question. Do you want me to address
Please,
Todd, talking to
please.
Mike?
Go ahead.
So Todd, we take the building information and data from the city, from the fire department. Less than 1% of fire departments, and we've worked with about 3,000, 4,000, know where systems are at, when they've been last inspected, tested, maintained. What we do is we take that information from. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, we just got yelled at.
Okay.
Our fault.
No problem. Todd, correct?
Don.
Sorry, Don. So we take the database from the fire department, from the city. We take it from many different ways, from public works, public utilities, tax assessors' offices. or just from the fire department. As I was stating earlier, less than 1% of AHJs nationally know where every system is at, when they've been last inspected, tested, and maintained. So we start out with the database from the city. But what we're building, though, is where our systems are at. When have they been last inspected, tested, and maintained? Right now, the fire department, they do not have this information. They're not alone. Fire departments are in the same boat nationwide. What also happens is when GETS, PIPCO, Lindsay, SECO, when they go out there and do an inspection, they're just adding that system to the property. So we know, hey, maybe there's a standpipe at this building that needs to be inspected, tested, and maintained. Maybe a fire alarm system, sprinkler system. There's evidence all over the news of not having good data and not knowing when inspections are maintained. I mean, we have examples in California, most recently San Jose, as I stated a few minutes ago. That happened in April. So that's how we get the data originally, but it's an ongoing process, Don, where we're always building that database. Right now, I can give you Downers Grove, Illinois. They're sitting at 95.4% compliant, and they're, I gotta do the math, 4.6% deficient or past due for their inspection, testing, and maintenance. That's what our vision is for the city of East Peoria. I mean, we're not gonna be there in the first year, but we'll get that in for the second, third year of being a partner with the city of East Peoria.
Thank you very much.
And that's what the most important aspect, I think, going back 3 years, our discussions on this. And I got on their email thread, so as they continue to add different, which I appreciate that because it allows me to do more research on it. But it was more geared toward professionalism and having the ability to keep track of the inspections and make sure everyone's compliant.
And one thing, Commissioner, just to understand, we just fortunately just updated this new image trend program that we have with, I can't give you the exact number, I'm going to say 1,100, 1,200 properties, which have all been updated, which have all been organized, put into districts. A lot of the work that's put into working with Brycer to get this up and moving and to get the process rolling, we just finished literally within the past week. So that's going to make this partnership with them far less labor intensive than a lot of departments surrounding us that don't have these databases built yet. We can take that block of information, share it, get with these vendors, work together on it, and move forward. And I'm just going to remind you, for those of you that have lived in East Peoria long enough, and I think all of you have, of January of '96. If you remember January '96, we spent 3 days at a really large fire down on North Main by Uftring. Okay? That was a system that was shut down. That was a sprinkler system that was shut down. The fire happened. We ended up at the fire scene for 3 days. It was the largest fire in the city's history in January of '96. The goal for our department, obviously, is to make sure that we don't run into that situation again.
Thank you. Good job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
You know, we appreciate it. And I'm sure there'll be more discussion to come
Absolutely.
on this. And I know they're going to shoot Commissioner Densberger some information and share with the others.
Great.
Actually, if you just email it to him, he can send it to all of us. If I send it, I have to send it to each one individually.
Understood. I'll get it to Chief Knapp.
Thank you. Is there a
Certainly.
motion to adjourn the working session, please?
So move.
Commissioner Jeffers.
Second?
Second, Commissioner Call. Roll call.
Commissioner Densberger?
Aye.
Jeffers?
Aye.
Call?
Aye.
Mayor Mingus?
Aye.
All present. Voting aye, Your Honor.
Meeting in about 5 minutes.
Very good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Open.